Democrats on the House Oversight Committee have published 3 emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate. 2 are with the author Michael Wolff from 2015 to 2019. One is with Ghislaine Maxwell in 2011. In those messages, Epstein claims Trump spent hours with a named victim at Epstein's house, and of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. The White House calls the release a partisan smear and points out that the named woman, Virginia Giuffre, repeatedly said Trump did not harm her. Republicans then pushed out a much larger tranche from the estate, and the Hill is now moving towards a vote to force a broader release of the Epstein files. What's genuinely new here, the 2011 Maxwell email puts Trump on Epstein's radar years before the 2016 campaign, with Epstein calling Trump the dog that hasn't barked and asserting a victim spent hours with him. That doesn't allege criminal conduct. It does suggest Epstein thought he had leverage. The January 2019 email to Wolff claims Trump knew about the girls and allegedly asked Maxwell to stop. That line is explosive because it implies knowledge of wrongdoing, though it remains a single uncorroborated statement from Epstein, not contemporaneous proof. Wolff's 2015 exchange shows Epstein exploring whether to feed Trump an answer or let him hang himself if asked on CNN. That reads like a power game, not a smoking gun. We know that people went to Epstein for answers. Ghislaine Maxwell did it, or Virginia Giuffre did it. Trump has long denied wrongdoing and says he distanced himself from Epstein years ago. Actually, it was Andrew who did it. Maxwell told US officials she never saw Trump act inappropriately. Giuffre had said under oath she didn't see Trump abuse minors. None of today's emails contradict those specific statements directly. The credibility issue here is the provenance. The emails come from the estate in response to subpoenas, then curated by Democrats, with Republicans later releasing tens of thousands of pages more. That supports authenticity of documents, but not the truth of Epstein's claims inside them. There are context gaps. We are seeing snippets rather than full threads, and without metadata and corroboration, phrases like "he knew about the girls" are interpretative quicksand. Good journalism will insist on the surrounding chain, other witnesses and logs. Expect days of documents sifting from now on. The political damage here, the narrative drag, even without proof of a crime, the story fuses Trump's name to Epstein again, just as Congress returns and the White House wants attention on the economy and the shutdown deal. Repetition hurts. Think of this as reputational rust. The Hill is near a vote to compel a broader release. If the White House resists, it looks like a cover-up. If it agrees, it risks more headlines. Heads, they lose message control. Tails, they lose message control. The base friction, parts of Trump's own coalition have demanded the release of the files. Fresh emails plus a perception of foot dragging can agitate influencers on the right who are already suspicious of Washington's secrecy. You can frame every press gaggle with 3 simple questions. Did the president visit Epstein properties after 2008? What did he ask Maxwell to stop? And why did the White House out a victim's name after Democrats redacted it? Each answer spawns another day of coverage. Global outlets have jumped on the emails. Foreign coverage tends to be blunter on moral optics than US partisan media. That sustains the story even if US outlets tire. How bad could this get, therefore? Well, the best case for Trump, the emails are framed as hearsay from a discredited figure. Maxwell's prior statements are highlighted. Giuffre's past comments are re-upped, and Republicans force a broader release that fails to add damaging substance. The story fades to a background hum. The base case is the press and Congress keep circling the same 3 lines for weeks. No knockout blow, but persistent corrosion with independent suburban moderates and college-educated women who already dislike the Epstein Association. The worst case is that corroborating material surfaces in the 23,000 pages or via witnesses that supports the 2019 knew about the girls claim. That would not instantly equal criminal liability, but it would be morally catastrophic and politically radioactive. Think month-long scandal calendar, not a 48-hour flare. So today's emails do not prove a crime, but they do prove a problem. And there's an issue about what is text and what is inference. Maxwell and Gifford's prior testimony is important, and that must be considered alongside the Epstein claims. This is about optics, not depositions. Epstein's language reads like a man hoarding IOUs. Wolf's "let him hang himself" reply shows a willingness to let Trump deny and then use that denial later. That is classic reputational blackmail logic, whether or not it was ever acted upon. This is not a courtroom, of course. It's a court of credibility, and the burden here is potentially brutal. If there is nothing to hide, I suppose the rest can be released. Politics punishes the whiff of leverage more than the proof of innocence. On evidence, this is murky stuff. On politics, it is damaging already. The immediate risk is not indictment, it is attrition. Days of headlines about who knew what, when, and why. The files are still locked. The White House wants to talk about inflation and governing. Instead, it will be explaining why Jeffrey Epstein used the phrase "knew about the girls" and why there was a dog that hasn't barked. That is the very definition of agenda loss, and that is going to dominate the news cycle for the next few days, whatever happens.